lives as most Nigerians are unemployed.
Increasing salary, it will not affect everybody. It's not everybody that's in the public service.
We don't need an increment of salary. What we need is the reduction of food and tops goods.
Salary of the civil servant. That is not our major problem.
We are churning out graduates every year. One would have expected that maybe a part of that money you use in sustaining the Empower scheme. The elderly, how do you solve their financial problem? This one is like you're not taking a holistic approach. You're only taking care of an aspect, and that's not how to solve a problem. It's not the increment. Solve the insecurity issue, and you see people fend in for themselves. Before, with 3,000 naira, you could buy a bag of rice, but now, how much?
As you may know, the federal government announced a plan to increase workers' salaries in 2023 following a series of industrial actions this year. Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, said the increment is to curb the effect of the economic challenges due to the inflation in the country. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress have listed conditions for the proposed review of the national minimum wage, saying the continuous rise in inflation and the devaluation of the naira must be checked before the salary increase announced by the federal government could be considered. The organised labour explained that if the rising cost of consumables in Nigeria continues, any amount of money that would be added to the minimum wage might not meet the expectations of workers. And in another development, Assistant General Secretary of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Chris Onyeka, has faulted the governance of the downstream sector and petroleum industry as petrol scarcity lingers in some states, including Rivers State. Now, speaking on Nigeria Info FM's Morning Crossfire, Onyeka said the poor governance of the industry led to the failure of price regulation of petroleum products in the country.
Since the destruction of governance of the downstream sector began to happen. What is happening in the downstream sector of the petroleum industry is a manifestation of the destruction in governance generally in Nigeria. We are reading letters as this impunity because what you find out is that the price of petrol is no longer being controlled by anybody. The official price remains at 165, but people are selling whatever rate they like, which means that there's nobody that is governing or controlling the process. And that is why when I heard my brother here talk about people going to buy at whatever price, I cried.
Earlier on the show, Rivers State Chairman of Petroleum Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petran, Francis Dimka, renewed his call for the removal of subsidy. He said it will help fix the incessant petrol situation in the country.
Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, particularly Rivers State, do not see what the subsidy is doing for us. We do not see what it's doing for the masses. Permanent solution to the fuel scarcity in Nigeria is for the refineries to work and for modular refineries to come on board. If you remove the subsidy, the tendency for the fuel to sell high at the initial stage will be there. So in competition, when you remove fuel subsidy, fuel will definitely sell at high price. But gradually, it will take shape. Competition will push it to shape.
He also attributed the petrol scarcity and increase in price of petrol to insufficient supply of the product at the depots.
There is no sufficient supply of petrol in Nigeria, especially in Rivers State. There are over 90 depots in Rivers State. Only one is working. An MPC product in that depot is finished. The products that you see a few days ago came out from that only one depot that is loading. Some trucks came in from Calabar. Some trucks came in from Lagos. The whole Nigeria is queuing up in Lagos and in Port Harcourt and few in Calabar right now. So one depot serving over 1,000 trucks, even more. Get to UTC Junction, the depots in the Rumalumini area. You see what is happening. The stretch of the line is over 3 or 4 kilometers.
And the cost of petrol in Port Harcourt moved to about 320 naira per litre in some crowded filling stations today. The situation has seen an increase in certain goods and services as the new year beckons. And moving on, environmentalist Fan-Faced Namine says the state government would need to provide an alternative source of livelihood for the youths to ensure a permanent solution to soot in Port Harcourt and its environs. Namine said this in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka while reacting to the disappearance of soot in Port Harcourt. He said the soot may resurface because illegal crude oil refining is still ongoing in some local government areas, despite a clampdown on illegal oil bunkering by the state and federal governments.
Yeah, what the government can do to eradicate out of artisanal crude oil refining and soot completely in Port Harcourt and its environs is to provide alternative livelihood opportunities for youth who are involved in this. The governor started the war of using stick to chase these boys. There was not a carrot perspective that gives the youth an alternative livelihood opportunities. So what the activities did was only to displace them. And just like when you displace a gathering of people, over time they will have to gather back and commence the activity. So I'm calling on the Rivers State government to take steps to ensuring that it works with the federal government to ensure that the youth of Rivers State have the modular refinery promised by the federal government.
Fine Face David Amade also called on government to legalize artisanal oil refining to ensure a friendly environment.
The second thing they also need to do is that we at Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, YEAC Nigeria, we have proposed the Presidential Artisanal Crude Oil Refining Development Initiative, PACODI, that modifies, legalizes artisanal crude oil refining to make it more environmental friendly. If the federal government can also work with the various states in the Niger Delta to ensure that the youth have these more artisanal refineries legalized, just the same way they have done it for the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative, PAGMI, in parts of the north and western Nigeria, whereby illegal gold miners are having opportunity to sell their illegal gold into the legal economy.
In January, Rivers State Governor Yesomuke clamped down on illegal oil bunkering, and there is also an ongoing clampdown by the federal government. And away from that, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says there will be no cover-up in the investigation and prosecution of officers involved in the killing of Mrs. Bolanle Rahim, who was shot dead by a police officer on Christmas Day. Governor Sanwo-Olu said this when he met with the IGP Usman Baba at Force Headquarters Abuja. In the same vein, the Nigerian Bar Association says it will seek the payment of damages not less than 5 billion naira, in addition to the swift prosecution of the officer who shot and killed Mrs. Rahim. A senior advocate of Nigeria and human rights lawyer, Ebonluwa Adegboruwa, made this known in a statement today. And still ahead, explosion as President Buhari visits Kogi State. Do please stay tuned. Killed following an explosion in the Okene area of Kogi State. Channels Television reports that the incident happened this morning at the Ojino's Palace in Okene local government area of the state. This came a few hours to the arrival of President Muhammadu Buhari to commission some projects in the state.
And now the business news.
In business, the EFCC has concluded plans to auction properties that are subject to final forfeiture orders. EFCC spokesperson Wilson Owujaren revealed this in a statement on Wednesday and urged interested persons or organizations to submit bids for the forfeited properties latest by 12 noon on Monday, 9th January 2023.
take it away with the entertainment news.
The family of Theophilus London, a Trinidad and Tobago rapper, has reported him missing. A 35-year-old US-based rapper has worked with the likes of Kanye West and Tame Impala. His family members traveled to Los Angeles after trying to uncover his whereabouts for the last few weeks.
And now, updates on the sports news.
Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr are reportedly awaiting the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo this week to make his transfer official on 1st January. Ronaldo is close to finalising a big money move to the Middle East after he had his Manchester United contract terminated last month, following his controversial interview with Piers Morgan about the club.
And now, we're bringing news from around the world.
At least 10 people have been killed in a fire that swept through a Cambodian hotel casino on the border with Thailand. And police say hundreds of people were in the Grand Diamond City building in the border town of Phoi Phet when the fire broke out on Wednesday. Online video showed people apparently jumping or falling from upper floors. Local reports said the number of deaths was likely to rise. And that's it on the news this evening. You heard federal government's planned salary increment has generated comments. Oil marketers have renewed calls for fuel subsidy removal as petrol scarcity lingers in Port Harcourt. Environmentalist has revealed ways to sustain clean air in River State. 4 people have died in Korea as people have visited the state. For instance, many people have died in a fire at a Cambodian hotel casino. As the editor of Constance Gare, hazy weather expected this evening. Remember to repeat and your voice. On Sunday, I'm Mayo in King Evening.